Neanderthal fraction event 47,000 years ago. Ancient DNA geneticists point to an event 47,000 years ago that is assumed to be linked to the arising of the so-called Neanderthal fraction. Surprisingly, or rather one more serious paradigm for consensus, is the fact that Aurignacian culture arose or appeared 47,000 years ago. We of Origin for Existence claim that the Aurignacian culture that appeared in our records 47,000 years ago, already very early on, was actively mining and or building in the polygonal wall range 47,000 years ago, and probably before. As said, this Aurignacian culture is composed of early modern humans. Seemingly independently early modern humans, that are not directly linked to the Aurignacian culture, are active in Ranis in Germany between 49,000 and 42,000 years ago, and also in Bacho Kiro Cave in Bulgaria 46,000 years ago, both north of the polygonal wall range. These Ranis and Bacho Kiro Cave early modern humans are known to go extinct, but the descendants and or following up out of Americans related to the Aurignacian culture because of their ancestor in common, will end up thriving in their polygonal imperiums. For us of Origin for Existence, Bacho Kiro Cave is 1,000 years later than 47,000 years ago, because it is a secondary, mining, expedition. Also deploying Neanderthals just as the Aurignacian culture does, this for the Aurignacian culture that prepares and or builds polygonal works and contemporary and or later empires, or eventually for descendants of their ancestors that remained in the Americas. Gemini AI Info Chapter. This chapter or confirms the former or provides more information. The Bacho Kiro Cave in central Bulgaria contains the earliest known physical traces of Homo sapiens in Europe, with human bone fragments dated to at least 46,000 years ago. These remains are associated with the initial Upper Paleolithic (IUP) culture, which features distinctive tools and ornaments found at the site. Genetic analysis of these early Europeans reveals a surprising amount of Neanderthal ancestry, a contribution that, despite the migration of later populations, is found more prominently in present-day East Asian and Native American populations than in Europeans. Connections across Eurasia. The stone tools and ornaments found at Bacho Kiro share similarities with artifacts found as far east as Mongolia, indicating a broad cultural and population network during this early period of human dispersal. End of this AI info chapter. Back to Origin for Existence. They are found also in Mongolia, and they also are out of Americans that expand through the Atlantic, Atlantis, and Pacific. Gyres. This both at the same time, always departing from South America. This at least initially. Atlantis and Mu are both South America. Peru presents also the Easter Island statues. Gemini AI Info Chapter. Initial Upper Paleolithic, IUP, cultural transition. This site provides the first clear evidence of the initial Upper Paleolithic, IUP, in Europe, representing a new technological and behavioral phase for early Homo sapiens. Technological innovations. The lithic, stone tool, and bone tool assemblages from the site showcase new methods of tool production, including blade technology. Symbolic behavior. The discovery of personal ornaments, such as pendants made from cave bear teeth and ivory beads, indicate symbolic behavior and personal adornment. Geographic dispersal. The stone tools from Bacho Kiro Cave are similar to artifacts found as far east as Mongolia, suggesting rapid dispersal of Homo sapiens across Eurasia and interactions with existing Neanderthal and Denisovan populations. Cultural precursor to the Aurignacian. While the Aurignacian culture is associated with the later Upper Paleolithic, the IUP material at Bacho Kiro predates it, suggesting it was a precursor or a distinct early phase of Homo sapiens' presence in Europe. Bacho Kiro Cave and the Aurignacian connection. The IUP material at Bacho Kiro Cave shows a departure from the Neanderthal behaviors of the preceding Middle Paleolithic. The material culture and technological innovations at Bacho Kiro were part of an early wave of Homo sapiens migration into Europe. This IUP presence contributed to the genetic and cultural tapestry of early Upper Paleolithic Europeans, with ancestry from the Bacho Kiro IUP population found in later individuals who were associated with the Aurignacian culture. End of AI info chapter. Back to origin for existence. What you can see is that the Aurignacian culture and Mongolia are connected. We also know, now also presented in our videos, that the Aurignacian culture already was active 47,000 years ago, which is the same date as geneticists claim for the so-called Neanderthal fraction and make it fit in the consensus human history by connecting it to out of Africa, this without any argument, most probably because it fits better in consensus. We gave this example because it shows what we claim, which is that the supposed out of Africa in fact is the arrival of similar and or associated early modern humans. In some cases of the Aurignacian culture, in parts of Europe and in Mongolia. A. The arrival of early modern humans on some of the north coasts of the Mediterranean Sea. B. As well as the arrival of early modern humans in the south of Europe just north of the Mediterranean Sea. Both have to do with Polygonal and Cyclopean works and seem to define at least some of the most important following empires. C. As well as the limited arrival of early modern humans in the north of Europe. C. As well as the arrival of similar and or associated early modern humans in Mongolia. This similar arrival of similar and or associated early modern humans in parts of the world so far apart as Europe and Mongolia could have misled consensus in thinking as a confirmation of the since Darwinism hypothesized out of Africa. We of origin for existence will provide plenty of evidence that all these similar cases are fact out of South America. Some of the evidence here is without the use of genetics. For instance, if it were out of Africa, the bulk of early modern humans, as well as the Aurignacian culture, would not start out, or dominantly would be in a gradient and progressive also starting in Gibraltar in the direction of the foot of Italy. It would not be associated with Neanderthals, which we know are atypical for Africa, especially for sub-Saharan Africa. High Neanderthal and even Denisovan frequencies are typical for the Americas. High Denisovan frequencies are typical for South America. Many other aspects, including faunal aspects, have Gibraltar as a filter, and not at all the bridge between Africa and Eurasia, Israel and or the Middle East. But genetics go much deeper and further back and also give additional and more security to the claims we make. Please comment with your doubts and remarks, as we pretend to complete or to remake this same video, for it to become more useful and or understandable for you and others. Also ask for more or better illustrations and or proofs, if this need would exist. Please remember that you cannot call yourself alternative historians or historians, if you do not bring history or do not bring a fully scientifically supported history without too many paradigms, like consensus still does, and most historians, even alternative historians, now do. Thank you.